So our topic that Nelly and I have taken up is resistance to the inner life. And even as I said, I'm ready to give my Dharma talk. I really have to tell you, I have a lot of resistance this morning, and resistance to writing this talk. Like I went to do what I could normally do, which is have about an hour before I meet with you all and think about the topic and have words kind of come to me, and my fingers type away, um, and then I'm finding that every sentence I write, it just feels so obvious, like you already know that. I can't even finish it. It's like, so I'm like skating on the surface of being able to even follow through with my thoughts this morning. So this has to become a part of the talk. Um, it has become such a big obstacle. It's like a boulder. I can't get around it. And when resistance is that big, you have to use it. It's there. Um, so how do we engage with resistance? Sometimes we have no choice but to face it directly. And I think that's part of this practice. When we meditate, when we sit down, our resistance is right there. It doesn't naturally go away. And it will be something that we invite into the sitting. That's not something that we have to get away from and go to another topic or a more savory part of our lives. Like the resistance can really be a part of the meditation process. And I don't know that many meditation practices that invite that resistance in. Normally, that is considered a distraction or something to get around quickly, and really to change the channel and get to another focus. So when I was writing the talk, I said, okay, I'm going to face you directly, resistance, and it disappeared. It was gone. It's like, okay, now I don't know what else to say. I'm done. The talk is over. Can I call in sick? Um, but I thought, no, I can go back to my journal. Yesterday, my mind was working differently. I was really interested in what I was talking about. Um, and it was on the same topic, so I can go pull some things from my thinking yesterday. Um, but before I do that, I just had the imagining that maybe some of you feel that about coming to the group, of should I go, shouldn't I go? I mean, why wouldn't I go to the group this morning? There's something else more important. Am I resisting something when I don't go? And it's not always the case. Sometimes there's other things that you're paying attention to, and those are just as important as showing up for a daily online practice. And then I felt some interest in what it's like for you all to share your experience in the last 10 minutes that we have. It's such a short time. And how do you put your experience into words and actually say what you mean when we're asking you to do that? Because I felt like I couldn't do that this morning. Like it was very difficult, yet here I am doing it. Um, so I really know myself as this Dharma teacher. I know myself as being able to speak relatively easily on my inner world and my inner life. And why can't I do that today? So why? Isn't that a default question? Tell me why. If I only knew why, then everything would just change. Then I'd be able to do it. Um, but I thought, oh, let's use that also as a way to see how things are impermanent and how things change. I can't even rely on the kind of Dharma teacher that I think I am to show up in the morning, every morning that I have to give a talk. Sometimes she's not there. And what's there instead is this, resistance to writing a talk, but a willingness to talk about it, like a willingness to go into it more and to look at what I was experiencing yesterday to orient me. Because sometimes we need our past to orient us a bit in today, to help develop a bit of a through line of what has meaning to us and what's important to us. So yesterday in my meditation, I was checking out what I called my inner life. I really wanted to know a little bit more about that term that Winton had used, and how do I use it? And so when I was closing my eyes, this seemed like a big distinction for me, that in a meditation, when I close my eyes, I feel safe enough to go back, in, down. There's some way that that feels in rather than out. And at another time in the meditation, when I opened my eyes, I could feel that inner world going out. Like I felt this kind of outer. Just by opening up my eyes, I felt more of a draw to go into my world, to look around my room. And the things that I was thinking about in my inner life actually easily came out into the objects in my room. And I thought, oh, they're so connected, this inner and outer life. And I felt like I was in a zone, that kind of zone which you get into when you're in more of a flow, like when you're exercising or meditating or doing artwork, where you're kind of in this time period where, you're not really watching yourself. You just feel immersed in something. And I really love that within a creative process. I often get to that within my writing, where I'm just writing. And that's why it's such a bummer that I couldn't write this morning. I mean, this is all kind of extemporaneous, like I'm just talking to you without my notes too much, which I don't tend to do. But I am looking down at my notes. So, many times I feel like I'm so privileged to be able to have the chance to look at my inner life, to be interested in it, to have that interest encouraged and developed within this group, within this practice, with the people I know. And when I was having my eyes closed, it almost felt like I had two sets of eyes, these external body eyes that were closed, but then the eyes inside of me, like I'm a visual meditator, so I still see things when I close my eyes. And there's a way I know from that kind of seeing, which is very different than when I go to sleep. And it's kind of like I close those inner eyes. I don't want more attention and intention. I really want to shut down. But meditation's very different for me. And this was a nice distinction that I felt like, oh, okay, I have these inner eyes, which are actually being able to see more when I close my outer eyes. And that there's a lot going on inside. And I was kind of surprised at how interested I was in my inner life. Like I was actually interested in the things that were going on and the way they were forming and the way they were disappearing or coming back again. And I think that's one thing that reflective meditation helps develop, is an interest in your inner goings on and the lots of stuff going on in there. And that how do we bring what's going on in there out into our world? How does that actually serve us and make us better people and more integral in our communities? So I really need a structure to go into my inner world and in my inner life. This has to be a part of it. I can't just do this out there on my own. And having a daily structure to meet together with other people helps me look at the resistance, be a part of the resistance, have it be a part of the practice. And it's a light structure. We're not really telling you a lot of what you should be doing this morning. And hopefully our Dharma talks just give you enough of a prompt to look at what's going on for you today and any kind of resistance that you might have to practice, to something in your life. But it's really nice to have something to hold on to. And it feels kind of risky to give this kind of a talk to my community and really let you know, like some days I can't give a Dharma talk and I can't call in sick. Just didn't feel like I could do it this morning, but I'm here. Thank you. Tracy, it's really nice. Thank you for just giving that kudos. And we'll now do our practice together.